So, as personal growth, one of the things that we would like to learn how to do is how to not be so sensitive around people or things in general. Because when we're too sensitive and we take everything way too personally and we overthink everything everyone does, we make the experience way more painful than it has to be. Let's say, for instance, we try to tell a funny joke and it falls flat. No one cares, no one's laughing, and we feel really embarrassed. However, we are not supposed to replay that like 1,000 times in our heads to make everything much more horrible for us. This is why we want to work towards not being too sensitive, because it really impacts our emotional health. If you're not subscribed yet, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and of course the bell. So the 3 points I want to talk about for this particular video are, the first one is our relationship with opinions. Because if we don't really understand how to handle opinions, then we become really sensitive to pretty much what everyone and what anyone says. And that is very exhausting, and it just attacks you on a personal level. We don't want that. The second one is really learning how to handle disagreements. Because most of us, we might fall into the camp of trying to please people too much and not offending others and trying to avoid conflicts in general. And that is not how you go about doing things either, because you'll be like walking around on eggshells, and that is horrible too. And the third one is proper social expectations, because sometimes we overthink and then we jump to conclusions, and that can make us feel a lot more sensitive about the topic and around people in general. To be honest, it's really hard living in this particular age because everyone can see anything that you're doing because you just post your life on Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, whatever the platform is. Our lives are so exposed, and from a young age, we have never been really taught how exactly do you manage the opinions and comments of other people, because our emotions, we're so attached to our own opinions and the opinions of others. If we go on Instagram and we take a little picture of our breakfast, nice little eggs over here, it makes everything look perfect. Or we go on TikTok, make a little short video to try to look cool, and then here we post it up, and then people make like weird comments about it, laugh at you, or they don't like it. No one reacts to it at all. We take it very personally, because why? Because we made that thing. Why wouldn't we take it personally? You can look at it and other people might not like it, and it feels like they are not accepting us as a person, or they just don't like us. However, it's not supposed to be like that. It doesn't make any sense. Because why? Because everyone has their own distinct preferences. And it's not bad to have preferences or differences. What's something that's good and unique about you? Let me know in the comments. For me, I really like chili cheese fries. It tastes amazing. But let's go back to our example of preferences and opinions. Let's say I really hate spaghetti, and you just happen to have spaghetti for lunch. And I'm like, I hate your lunch. Believe it or not, that's actually normal. Yes, I might sound like a complete jerk and a moron for actually saying my preferences in that way, but the truth is, I don't like your lunch because it's spaghetti. And everyone has different preferences, and that is okay. We should be allowed to disagree with other people. Like, you are not supposed to feel horrible about yourself if you do like spaghetti, or you're not supposed to not care about me as a person because I hate spaghetti. And you're definitely not supposed to feel offended when you say you like spaghetti, but I don't say anything because I hate spaghetti. Like, the proper response to this opinion in this situation is just, oh, okay, well, I like spaghetti. That's it. Like, nothing else. Like, that is all your reaction is supposed to be, because it's an opinion. However, if you apply this to social media, to our posts, videos, everything, we start to really feel our self-worth, who we are as a person, being overly attached to everything that we post online. And it's not supposed to be like that. So whenever you really feel that you are way too emotionally attached to the things that pictures that you take, things that you post, pull yourself back and really think about what is the proper reaction that I'm supposed to have towards this person's opinions, and then level yourself, level your emotional attachment to it. We have to remember to tell ourselves that, hey, this is just an opinion. It doesn't mean that much. And we have to actively downplay its significance in our lives, because we're not trying to ignore people, but we don't let these comments rule our lives because they're not supposed to. However, things do get a little more complex when it becomes more of a disagreement or conflict with other people. I know that sometimes it's easy to fall into that camp where we either think that, oh wow, these obnoxious people are really getting so much attention, maybe I should just act like a jerk, or we fall into the category that we want to just please people and then we're not trying not to offend anyone, and we really try to make sure that everyone's happy, sometimes at the sacrifice of our own expenses and our own emotional health. And neither of those things are what we're actually supposed to do when we face conflicts. And the solution here is actually learning to be okay with conflicts. And this might take time, but it's learnable by everyone. You know that tension when you say something and no one replies to you? And it's super awkward and you try to say something more to try to ease up that tension more? Yeah, don't do that. That is the tension of conflicts and disagreement. And that is the tension that we're looking to become better at handling. Whenever that tension comes up, don't dodge it, don't try to relieve it, don't try to withdraw. Just be still. If you feel embarrassed, just let that emotion feel through your body, but just be perfectly still and learn to feel that tension and be okay with that tension. And you have to really prove to yourself that you can handle that tension. And that is the beginning of handling a conflict and disagreement. Why do you want to do this? Because this is how you stand up for yourself. Because at any point when you are just around people, someone is going to challenge your opinions or the things that you say, sometimes in a good way, sometimes in a bad way. But people will test your boundaries in different ways. And this is how you stand up for yourself, by learning to manage this tension when someone disagrees with something that you say, and you have to be okay with that. Let's say if someone doesn't really like my haircut and they think it's funny, and I disagree, I don't have to apologize, I don't have to withdraw, and I don't have to feel ashamed of it. Why? Because it's okay to disagree with someone. Like, if you don't like my haircut, well, good for you. Like, I didn't do anything wrong. That's your opinion. And I don't have to back down about this particular thing about my haircut. You can disagree with someone and still be friends with them. Like, you don't have to apologize for things that you didn't do wrong for, including awkwardness. But I really feel like the main thing that there's a lot of struggle around is that feeling of shame, that feeling of tension that we have to really learn to manage from that conflict. And this is why we need to zone in and learn to be okay with it and to see conflict as normal, because it happens all the time. And the more you learn how to manage this, then you'll see that you'll be able to handle daily life so much more smooth, because you have an established foundation for yourself. The last point that I want to touch on is on social expectations. Because when we don't have a proper view of social expectations, we might think wrongly about the way that other people are doing things, and we will wrongly make assumptions, which just makes things worse because that's not what's actually happening. First, I want to say social skills is a little complex, but it's perfectly learnable. It just takes time and learning and applying it to get used to it. When I'm talking about social expectations, I'm really talking about how we're interpreting the social situation. Let's say I'm talking to a bunch of my people that I thought I was pretty close to, and then they are going on a fishing trip together. I don't know why I say fishing trip, but that's that's what they're planning to do, and they're planning to go on this trip, have a great time, and just hang out. And I wasn't invited. And then when I'm talking to them, things got a little awkward because they're like, "Oh, you're not invited?" In this situation, we have to learn to actually assess the social situation properly. When you're in this situation, it's so easy to jump to one of two conclusions. The first one is, man, is there something wrong with me? I thought we were friends. Like, why was I not included? Is there something wrong with me? Why are they not including me in this group? I wanted to go too. If they liked me, then why didn't they include me? And the second conclusion is, man, shoot, people are also selfish. They only care about themselves. Why do they not invite me? Because, like, I want to go too, but why do they only care about themselves and their own group, and they exclude me from this trip? But the truth is, there are much more than just these two options. We don't want to jump to conclusions and have our own social assumptions and expectations about this situation. Like, for example, on that fishing trip, one of the guys might just perfectly well forgot to tell you. And now the group is filled up, they can't really invite that much people because the spots are filled. Or some of the people in the group, they want to invite you to the fishing trip. However, the rest of the group are acquaintances with you. They don't feel like they know you too well. So it's not so much that they don't want you on the trip, it's that they just feel uncertain. They're not sure about how things will turn out. So they just ended up with a closer, smaller group that are going forward with this trip. Another reason might be they just formed this on the fly, and they pretty much just gather whoever was around them at that particular time and just say, hey guys, let's just go. And those are the people that actually know about the trip. Another reason might be maybe you turned them down a few times and they think that you're really busy, so they just didn't really invite you because they think that you're going to just give them the same response as last time. So you can see that just by this one particular situation, there's so many different reasons for why something might happen. And for us, it's really easy to jump to that conclusion of, one, there's something wrong with us, which really makes us feel really sensitive about everything that we do in a particular situation because we want to be included in a particular group. Or there's something wrong with the other person, and that creates that social distance that's between you and other people. That we do not want. But that is all I have for you this week. I honestly feel like it's really difficult to go around and make friends and do daily tasks if you are just feeling very vulnerable in general. You feel like everything that everyone's doing, there's so much emotion in terms of the way that you react to them. And sometimes that's really emotionally exhausting. And you just want to avoid the situations altogether. So we want to really learn how to handle that aspect so that we are not really overreacting to anything, and really to keep our emotions in check so that we can just have a normal life. Because I think that's kind of what we want, right? And if you find this video helpful, you can just like, share, comment, and that's it. We'll talk to you guys next time.